Did Germany pay any war reparations to Poland? The short answer is no.
So before going to specific numbers and figures, I'll take you through a photographic tour of Warsaw and other locations from Poland that were affected by the German.
The 10% it suffered with the siege of Warsaw in 1939. An additional 15% by following the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. And then the Warsaw Uprising from 1944 August till October. The Austrian painter. So basically an order came from him on the 8th of October stating the following: turn Warsaw into a lake. So following that order, specific commandos were assigned to literally go building by building, set up charges and demolish houses, with the priority of churches, libraries, palaces, anything that has to do with the Polish identity.
Losses inflicted on Poland by Germany in World War II. Human casualties, roughly 6 million people perished. Material destruction, over 162,000 buildings, 14,000 factories, 200,000 businesses, 38% of the national capital destroyed, and over 90% Warsaw destruction. Education and healthcare, over 17 universities, 4,880 schools, and 352 hospitals destroyed. Agriculture and forestry, millions of farm animals were lost, and over 75 million cubic meters of timber were cut. Territorial losses, over 78,000 kilometers lost due to border changes. Cultural devastation, over 90% of Warsaw landmarks were destroyed. Documented atrocities, plus 400,000 deliberate killings. Source from the Black Book of Poland. The post-war valuations and legacy estimated economic losses based on the 2022 report, over 1.3 trillion euro. Overall impact, an unparalleled human, economic, and cultural catastrophe in modern Polish history. to the USSR and the losses they inflicted on Poland. Between 1939 and 1941, mass deportations took place. Between 300,000 and a million Polish citizens were deported. This nation, Siberia, Kazakhstan, and the Arctic regions. Executions and imprisonment, the Katyn massacre in 1940, where over 22,000 were NKVD. Territorial losses, over 178,000 square kilometers of eastern Poland lost, and Poles forcibly relocated. Sovietization of Poland in politics, property, agriculture, and economy, and cultural repression, censorship and control on education and media, persecution of other clergy, teachers, and intelligentsia in annexed regions, and the overall impact, systematic political, cultural, and demographic transformation.
Dwight Eisenhower in 1945 visited Warsaw, and his own words were like this: the damage on Warsaw was done deliberately by the Germans, and obviously they should pay for that. Unfortunately, following the Potsdam Treaty from 1945, following the end of the war, Poland got some reparations, but not directly through the USSR. Since we're here, let's not forget the reason why World War II started and with whose agreement started. USSR and Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact gave way to the start and the beginning of World War II. So they started it, and they were the ones getting compensation for it, which is ridiculous, but this is the world we live in, and that will never change, unfortunately. Money were collected from across country for this purpose alone, to rebuild the capital Warsaw. So that's where the financial part was covered by the Polish people themselves. So misconception that USSR did rebuild Warsaw, well, that's a lie, I'm telling you now, as a non-Polish person. So what Poland received were the followings: some German factories disassembled and reassembled in Germany, some machinery and coal shipments, but obviously they were all limited, and most importantly they were regulated and strictly overlooked by Moscow. So whatever they were getting, it was in very small quantities.
Promises versus reality. The agreement, Potsdam from 1945, said that Poland was supposed to receive 15% of the Soviet share of German reparations. In theory, this could have been amounted to billions of 1945 USD worth of goods, but in reality, USSR delivered far less, and often giving Poland obsolete or damaged machinery and keeping, obviously, the modern equipment that they were taking from Germany. The archival study suggests that Poland received industrial equipment and assets worth 228 million. In comparison, the USSR itself extracted at least $10 to $12 billion in 1945 value. For perspective, 228 million in 1945 was 3.8 to 4 billion in today's money, while Poland's wartime losses were estimated between 45 and 50 billion in 1949, which is several trillion dollars in today's value. So what Poland received was just a symbolic fraction. Net effect, on top of that, Poland was required to deliver huge shipments of coal to the USSR at below market rate between 1945 and 1953. These coal deliveries alone were worth more than what Poland actually got from this tiny fraction that the USSR presumably gave to Poland. So in other words, many argued Poland was effectively a net loser in the reparation system run through Moscow. On top of that, not only Poland didn't get reparations, but moreover paid reparations indirectly to USSR by selling under market value coal for a huge amount of time from 1945 till 1953. That's 8 years of shipments under market value.